Hello, it's Sean. Today I'm going to be playing another game of The Walking Dead All-Out War. This time I'm going to be using the Days Gone By expansion, and we're going to be playing the first scenario called Gun Running. So I don't have Morgan and Dwayne painted, so I'm not going to be using the recommended participants. Instead, I have Derek and Sandra. The alternative participants gives you a 100 point limit with at least 2 survivors, so I've chosen those 2. Derek has a baseball bat and bandages, and Sandra has a katana and a leather jacket. You're not allowed to use ranged weapons starting in this scenario. You might find some in the supply pack. We're playing on a 20 by 20 area. The survivors have to start within 3 inches of this corner down here. And their goal is to get to that corner, which is the entrance to a munitions store. We have 4 walkers that got set up within 6 inches of that corner. And then we have 8 walkers set up on that half of the diagonal. Anywhere not within 2 inches of each other. There's a supply counter in each vehicle. And then some random barricades set up as well. The players win at the end of a turn in which one of the survivors performs a successful smash roll on the munitions store, representing the survivors breaking into the armory. The munitions store has a defense value of a blue die. So when we get there, we'll see what happens. And I'm going to be using the solo event deck because I have it. Well, we're going to take an activation with Sandra. She's going to make a run action. And run up behind this car. That makes noise, so... No, wait. One model within 10. The closest model within 10 is going to move towards her. That's going to be this. And that will shamble right up to the vehicle. Derek is going to sneak forward. Yeah. Yeah, Derek's just going to sneak. Threat is still at 0, so I can't do a hold the nerve action. So Derek's not going to take a second action. That is the end of the action phase, the event phase. So that walker is going to shamble around that car and attack. Nobody else is within a kill zone. So now we're going to draw an event card. We have frayed nerves. We're in the all quiet. So one model with low nerve of the player's choice creates noise. If there are no eligible models, add 1 to the threat level. There are no models with low nerves, so we're going to bump the threat to 1, or up 1 to 2. That is the end of the event phase. Now we're going to have a melee phase. We have Sandra here is fighting a walker, but it's just 1 walker, so shouldn't be too bad. The walker has 1 red die. Sandra, however, has a katana, which gives her a blue dice, and her basic melee is a red die. So Sandra's basic melee value is 1 red die, and then she adds a blue die for the katana. The walker has 1 red die, so I'll roll them separate. Here is the walker. His 2 hits and a bite. And here's the katana. It is 3 hits, but no headshot. So Sandra wins the fight by 1, so she's going to push the walker back and knock it down. And that is that melee. Oh, I gotta bump the threat because there was a melee. Alright, in the end phase, we gotta roll to see if the walker stands up. There's only one walker down. And it is a blank, so it does not stand up. And we will increase the threat by 1 because it is a solo game. So, turn 2. We are going to have Derek step up to the walker. And first he's going to try to hold the nerve. So he is going to roll a black die. And he fails. And then he's going to walk up here, be in base-to-base contact with the prone walker. His plan is just to kill that. Sandra is also going to try to hold the nerve. She fails. She is base-to-base with that car, so she is going to search the car. And so she will take this token, put it on her card, and she draws from the supply deck. And she has an ammo reload, which doesn't really do much because we don't have any ranged weapons, but that's okay. We'll put it in her pack and call it good. Alright, so now we have the event phase. There is no walkers within the kill zone. That walker is prone, so he doesn't get to do anything. So we'll draw an event card. And we have Feeding Frenzy. We're going to roll a black die for each survivor engaged in melee. On a shield, the model loses 1 health point. If there are no models in melee, add 1 to the threat. We only have 1 in melee. So on a shield, that guy is going to lose health. He did not. So Derek is fine. And threat doesn't go up, so that's nice. So now we're into the melee phase. The walker, because it is prone, it can only defend. Derek has a white die for his basic value and then a red die for his baseball bat. He is also a bruiser, so he may re-roll 1 red die during the melee. So we're going to roll the walker first. Remember, he can only defend, so he can't do any damage to Derek. And he gets 2 for his defense. Here's Derek's attack on the walker. All he has to do is win the combat. So he has 2 on the white die. He's going to re-roll the red. And he has 3 attack. He also has the headshot, which isn't necessary. If you win against a prone model, they are automatically removed. So that walker is taken out of action. And I got to tick that thread up because we did have a melee. That is all the melee phase. So we're on to the end phase. There is nobody prone, no end phase stuff. So we just need to tick up threat by 1. And we're back to the top of the turn. Derek is going to run to this car. No. First, Derek is going to try to reduce the threat. And he does. Now he's going to run to this car. And the closest walker is going to shamble towards him. And that will be this one. Looks like he's going to hit the car first, so he's not going to end up in combat. Which he'll move in the event phase. Let's see. Sandra is going to sneak just around to the other side of this car. And she's going to try to reduce the threat. And she fails. So, next we have the event phase. Somewhere's my kill zone. So this guy is within his kill zone, so he's going to shamble around and fight him. Nobody else is within a kill zone. Let's draw an event card and see what we have happen. It's automatically +1 threat. It's too quiet. We're in the low threat, so the walkers suddenly stop and nothing seems to happen. Add 1 to the threat level. So, for nothing happening, 2 threat bump is not a good thing. Alrighty. That is the event phase. We're going to go to the melee phase and we're going to bump that threat up. These fellas are going to fight. The walker will roll first. He has 1 die. And he gets 2 and a bite. And then Derek has a white and a red. And he can re-roll his red, which he is going to. And so he has 3 and a headshot. So Derek wins and he has the headshot, so he's going to put that walker out of action. Next we have the end phase. There are no prone models. So the only thing we have to do is bump the threat up. We are now into medium threat. So Sandra is going to have to start checking her threat. Or no, she's good with medium. She won't have to test until she's in high threat. But if she's close to him, his leader ability will keep her from having to roll the panic. So let's go to the action phase. First, Derek is going to search that vehicle. No. First, Derek is going to try to reduce the threat by hold the nerve. And he failed. Now he's going to search that vehicle. And we'll draw from the supplies. And he got nothing. An empty box. So. Now, Sandra is going to try to hold the nerve. And she also fails, so the nerve, so the threat keeps ticking. She's going to run over here. Because if I don't deal with these walkers, it'll be a problem. So, she made noise with that run, so he's going to automatically move into contact with her. And that is the action phase. The event phase, nobody was within the kill zone of anyone, so we will just draw an event card. And we have roamers. Move 1 eligible walker towards the nearest survivor. And that's going to be this one. Because that's about 7. That's about 6. So this one is going to shamble forward. It's going to bump into this barricade as it moves straight towards Sandra. And I'm cheating because we're in medium threat. So I'm going to roll the blue die and move that many eligible walkers towards the nearest survivor. So I've already moved 1, and I rolled 3 on that blue die. So I need to move 2 more walkers. So you're about 10. Alright, so this one is going to shamble toward him. And this one is also going to shamble toward him, toward Derek. So, that is the event phase. Alright, so now in the end phase, the melee phase, we have a combat, so we're going to tick the threat up by 1. The walker has 1 red die. Sandra has a red and a blue. We will do the walker first, and the walker has 1 attack, or 1 hit, and Sandra has 3, but she did not get a headshot. Alright, so she's going to push him back and knock him down. And that is that melee phase. The end phase, we have a prone walker, so we're going to roll to see if he gets back up. On a shield he does, and he did not. And we will bump the threat up by 1. Alright, so back to the event phase. So first Derek is going to try to hold the nerve because this threat is really getting high. And he succeeded, so we're going to drop that down by 1. He is going to move into base-to-base contact with this walker. Actually, he's not going to do that. He's going to run and draw the walker to him just so I'm further away from that guy. So, he's going to run to here. That is the closest walker to him, so they are going to shamble towards him and reach him. So he'll be in combat over here, which puts him at least a little bit further away from that guy if he moves. Sandra is going to attempt to hold the nerve. And she succeeds, so we are back down to 8. And then she is going to sneak over here and get into combat with this walker. And hopefully she'll be able to kill this one. I'm trying to clear the path in here to this munitions locker. So that is the end of the activation phase. Now we have the event phase. Nobody is within the kill zone of any of the zombies, so they're not going to do anything. So we will draw an event card. An alarm. So, choose a car. If possible, it must be one that has no survivors within 6 inches of it. So these two are going to be out. It's going to be one of those two. The car alarm goes off, creating mayhem instantly. The car will cause mayhem again at the start of every event phase until a survivor moves into contact with it and uses a search action to shut it off. Once the alarm has been shut off, discard the card. So I'm going to leave this card right here so I remember it. So right now we get to decide which one of these has the alarm going off. I'm going to roll the black die here. On a shield it will be this car, and on a blank it'll be that car. And it's a blank, so it's this car here. So just a little white poker chip here. And that's going to indicate that that car has an alarm going off. So, because that alarm is going off and it's causing mayhem, every walker within 10 inches of it is going to immediately move toward it. So this guy is clearly within 10 inches. He's going to walk up to it. This walker is within 10 inches. He's already in base to base with this car, so he's going to shamble 6 inches around the car and move toward it. Within 10, so that one's going to walk into that barricade, and everybody else is without. They're engaged in melee, so that one won't move toward it. It might be good, it might be bad. Oh yeah, this is why it's bad, because every turn that threat's going to go up an extra one because the mayhem causes additional threat. So, right now, that is where we're at. That is the end of the event phase. Now on to the melee phase. We have combat. Doesn't matter how many combats you have. If there is any combat, you take the threat up by 1. If you have 5 combats, it's still just 1. And we're going to do Sandra first. So the walker has 1 red die. And it got a blank, which is good. And Sandra has a blue and a red die for her attack. And she got 5 in a headshot, so she's going to knock that walker out of action. Now we have Derek fighting a walker. The walker again has 1 red die. And that was a blank for the walker. Derek has a white die and a red die with the opportunity to re-roll the red die. He's not going to re-roll that red die because it's good. So he has 3 hits against the walker's 1. And he has the headshot, so that's going to knock that walker out. Okay. I feel like we're doing okay right now, but we do have this clump of walkers that we're going to have to deal with at some point. Well, that's the end of the melee phase. Now into the end phase. We have to roll to see if this walker here stands up. On a shield, he'll stand. He does not. He stays down. We're we're going to tick threat up in the end phase. We're sitting at 12 right now, which is not a good thing. So we are going to go to the activator. Yeah, the activation phase. Sandra is going to go first. She is going to run toward this car. And that run is going to make noise, which is going to draw this walker to her. Which is dumb, dumb, dumb. She needed to... First, Sandra is going to hold the nerve, and she fails. Now she's going to run. This guy is going to be drawn to her. My hold the nerve rolls have been kind of bad so far today. Derek is... He's going to run and get into contact with that vehicle. And now he is going to search the vehicle to turn off the alarm. That alarm is kind of nice because it does draw walkers away from us. However, that threat that would keep ticking, I don't want it going on, so I'm getting rid of it. Alright, so that is the activation phase. Next we have the event phase. There are no walkers within kill zones, so we're going to draw an event card. And it's immediately +1 threat. We're up to 13. We only play to 18. So medium threat, roll a blue die and move that many eligible walkers towards the nearest survivor. So, blue die, 2. So, alright, it's going to be these two. And which is closer? You are about 6 and you... So she's closer, so he's going to shamble, and he's going to reach her. So that is no good. She's going to have a tougher fight this time. And this walker is going to shamble around that and get to about right here. She walks straight. So that is the event phase. Next up, we have the melee phase. Now, walkers, when they're in combat, they get 1 die for themselves, but when they have more, each additional walker gets as many red dice as they are number. So if it's a second walker, it gets 2 red dice. A third walker gets 3 red dice, which, if you're fighting 3 walkers, they're rolling 6 red dice. So, right now, I'm going to be fighting 2 walkers, so that's 3 red dice from the walkers. So we'll roll this and see what we have. Oops. Yikes, so 5 and a bite from the walkers. Sandra does have a katana, which is nice. So she's got a blue die and a red die. And she's going to roll, and hopefully she beats 5. Probably won't. And she gets 3. So, Sandra is now bitten, and she... Oh wait, she has a leather jacket. So discard this card to ignore all damage from a single round of melee. So she is absolutely going to discard that card and ignore this 2 points of damage and bite that she's about to take. She still lost the combat, so she's going to be pushed back. Oh, and I have to... I don't think I ticked threat for that melee phase, so I'm taking that up now. Alright, so now in the end phase, we have to roll for this prone walker to see what he does. He is going to stand up finally. And we're going to tick the threat up for the end phase. Back to the activation phase. So... I don't want them... Alright, well Sandra first is going to attempt to hold the nerve. So she is going to roll black die, try to reduce the threat, and she does, so we're down to 14. her second action is going to be to make noise. So that'll draw the walker to her. Derek is going to Derek is also going to try to hold the nerve, and he failed. But now he's going to run. So he's going to run around here, and go there, which is going to draw this walker in to him because it made noise. Alright. Now we're on to the event phase. There are no walkers within the kill zone, so we're just going to draw a card. It's +1 threat, back up to 15. We are in high threat though, so the tension reaches a fever pitch. So the card is called There's a Storm Coming. There's a storm coming. The tension reaches a fever pitch. Add 1 to the threat level. Immediately draw 2 more event cards and apply the results. That's really awful. I think this game is probably about to end. Yep, Pandemonium. Add 1 threat. We're at high threat. Move every eligible walker towards the nearest survivor, then 2 blue dice worth of walkers enter play. Oh, that's really awful. So let's see, every eligible walker, that one's going to get into combat there. He's going to bump there. Nearest threat is Derek. So he's going to bump, bump, bump. And then I'm going to roll 2 blue dice and add that many walkers. So we're going to add 4 walkers. And I'm not sure how we add these. I'm just sticking them scattered around. So 1 on each side of the board. But we have 1 more card to draw here. And The Walking Dead, +2 threat, which pushes the threat over the limit. And that means we lost the battle. Wow. It seemed like it was going good for a little while. I did have some bad rolls on the threat dice. I reduced it a couple times, but I failed that roll a lot. And it's a 50-50 roll, so it shouldn't be that hard to make, I guess. But that's alright. Again, it was a fun game. These are challenging to complete. I don't know if my choice of characters was a bad choice, but it was fun. Maybe I need to push harder instead of trying to kill off some of the walkers, push harder towards the objective to try to complete that sooner. Either way, it was a fun game. I'm going to try this one again at some point in the future. I think I'll do the next scenario. And in this, the book, The Days Gone By, because we didn't get to the munitions locker, any ranged weapons in the next scenario will cost an additional 5 points because we just don't have them available to us. So it was a fun game. I enjoyed it. If you liked watching this, you can give the video a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this and the other projects that I work on, you can subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions or saw anything that I was doing wrong, please put it in the comments below. Thanks for watching.